Good afternoon and welcome to Mike and the Hoss on Wolfeboro Community Television. I'm Mike Dene.
And I'm Charlie Hossack.
Today we have a little bit of different format. We have our first guest on Mike and the Hoss, Charlie.
This is exciting. I can't
know,
wait.
I'm pretty excited about this. So we're going to have the Kingswood varsity hockey coach.
Oh, Coach Potenza.
Yeah, we've talked about him a lot. Talked about some of the job he's doing. So we're going to start the show with that, and then we'll get to some of our Red Sox and Bruins and Celtics talks. What do you think?
That sounds great. Let's do it, Mike.
All right, so we'll be right back with Coach Potenza. Hey, welcome back to Mike and the Hoss. Today, like we said, we have Coach Mike Potenza, the Kingswood varsity boys coach. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
I'd love to say what an unbelievable set you have in here. I never expected to find this at Kingswood High School.
It is pretty amazing.
It's better to the eye, that's for sure. So, Coach, the Kingswood boys are looking pretty good for the playoffs. They've clinched a spot. I believe they're currently in 5th place.
Yeah, we've moved in the last week and a half or so. We've moved from 9th to 5th.
Wow.
So they're on a pretty good roll. Things are looking pretty good.
Do you want to give us a brief recap of the season? You know, how things have gone. If you could summarize what we've seen.
We've had a lot of injuries and illnesses at the beginning of the year, which kind of left us a little short on the bench. Forced us to move some of our forwards back to defense, move some people around a bit, and then we got into a little bit of a groove where we had people set. And things started to click. So
nice. We the boys have won 3 out of the last 4. Like I said, they're up to fifth place right now. Has there been any kind of changes in play that has caused this run? I mean, last Friday we had the Oyster River game, which was a good game for the boys, and then Monday was a big win with Kennett. That's a rivalry game, and I know you've beaten them before this year. And then we had the Merrimack game. So I mean, the puck's been going in the net a little bit more. What are you seeing?
we've started to do all the little things we've talked about all year. A little bit more structured. Our focus is getting pucks deep, keeping the puck deep, so when it comes out, we'd like to transition it right back in. And we've got a pretty dangerous trio in our top line, which I still hold to my statement at the beginning of the season, that I believe they're the best top line in the state. And when they're rolling, they're pretty hard to stop. You speak of the Merrimack game, had 13 points for that top 3.
Wow,
that's
on
amazing.
The score sheet that night. So
Big night the other night for Sam Dene. He scored his 100th point, which was fantastic.
Well, I'd heard something about that.
That's kind of a big deal. So way to go for Sam Dene. Coach, I did have a question for you. As a football coach, I have an entire week to put together a game plan and prep for the next opponent. How is that done in hockey? I mean, certainly you play a lot more games, but how do you start to prepare now when you kind of start to figure out who you have in the playoffs coming up?
A lot of it is trying to see, A, who their top players are, B, what kind of system they run. Because you find, especially at this point of the year, there's one particular part of someone's game that's producing all the points. For some team, it's their power play. So you have to start to look at how they run their power play and how do you defend against it. And some, they just have a couple of kids that are just very highly skilled.
Right.
So you take a look at that, and a lot of the stuff is basic. Like I said, with getting the pucks deep, you don't want to turn them over at the blue lines. But if you can just change one little thing here or there between teams, that really seems to be all you need to do at this level.
Sure.
Coach, you made it all the way to the semifinals last year. Very successful year. Kind of came out of nowhere, though, to get to the semifinals. I don't think anybody expected Kingswood to do it. This year, the boys are playing really well. How would you characterize this year's team compared to last year's team? Do you see any differences? Do you see, what's allowing them to have success?
I think it's as silly as it sounds. They trust one another. I think there's a pretty good bond on this year's team. Last year it got there, and then they started to see what it's like to win and what it feels like to win. And the kids who returned this year have done a really good job passing that along to the new kids this year, and giving them the right mindset and the right attitude to approach the games.
That's a good take, because I think winning does have to be learned. And there's a lot of teams that struggle. They have the talent, but they don't know how to win. And it seems like you guys know how to win. You've pulled out the close games, and that's obviously a father that watches them play. I see a lot in the third period. I think you could tell a lot about a team in the third period and how they approach a third period. And we've played our best hockey in the third period lately.
I don't know if that's lately. I know that You know, they have a little saying in the locker room between the second and third period when they say, what time is it? They say it's nighttime. For the 7 years that I've been here, the third period has seemed to be when they really take a game over.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, well, I've noticed it in the past few games because the puck's been going in the net a little bit more, and we've a lot of early goals to get the other team back on their heels. You know, we saw in the Oyster River game, it was a big, you know, it had a 5-minute penalty, 5-minute major penalty that you were able to kill off for the most part. There was one goal that was put in, but once we killed that penalty off, then the puck started going in the net to seal the deal. It was a nice finish for the Knights.
Yeah, well, you kill off a 5-minute penalty, it kind of gives you a little bit of momentum.
Yeah.
You know, we held Oyster River, I want to say, to 1 goal on that 5-minute kill. And they got a lot of momentum from that. And, you know, like I said, I put my top players on the ice at the end of the game, and they were all there last year, so they know what it takes to win at that level. And I put them out there, and like you said, they went out and sealed the deal for us.
Charlie,
yeah.
go.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say. So right now we're the 5 seed. So the 5 seed gets us a home playoff game.
It does not.
Okay.
If we get up to 4th, which is still not ruled out, it depends on what happens with Keene. At the moment, Keene is in 4th. We're in 5th. Us winning and them losing, I think, could flip-flop that. But either way, it looks like it's us against Keene. It's just depending on where it will be played.
Okay.
Keene helped us a little bit the other night by not winning the other night against Lebanon. There was a tie. So
Yeah.
that was helped. That kind of surprised me a little bit. I thought Keene was going to be able to take Lebanon pretty easy. So, you know, obviously the ultimate goal for the boys is to raise a banner. What's going to happen for the boys to win? Really, you know, Saturday night, senior night. They're already in the playoffs, but it's going to be there are 3 games after that: the quarters, the semis, and then the finals. What's going to take? Because we haven't seen a championship around here in a long time.
It's been 20 years now that you bring it up. I think we've learned all year long, and we've kind of pounded into their head that adversity reveals character. And we have dealt with our fair share of adversity this year. And as we get closer to the playoffs, you know, we've been handed a little more of it. Cody Emerson went down the other night to a knee injury, and he's been a huge part of our season this year. He's a second-line kid for us, and once he started putting the puck in the net, that whole line started clicking. And once we started getting scoring from our second line, it's making these games easier because we're not relying on just our top 3 forwards to win games for us. So like I said, so he went down, and then the other night against Merrimack, we had a couple more injuries, and the kids are responding properly to the adversity. You're seeing kids step up to fill those roles that have been vacated by injuries, and you know, it's really all you can ask for at this point because there's not a lot you can do about it when someone gets hurt. So the kids have stepped up, and that's what we're going to need to go into the playoffs, is for them to continue to step up. And we're going to need our goalies to be.
Yeah, I was going to ask
point.
about the goalies. You have some talented goalies. How do you go about, and I'm interested in the game planning stuff, how do you go about making that decision? Is that a game day decision? Does the goalie know, you know, the day before, or is he finding out, you know, prior, or just right prior to the game?
The goalies find out right before we step on the ice.
Okay.
And the reason I do that is in the past we've done it differently where they may know the day before. And then you find you get to the rink and you've got a kid who mentally is just not there, and whoever's backing him up is not mentally prepared to go in.
Right.
So I ask them all, we have 4 goalies on the roster this year, and they are all asked to be mentally prepared to play when they show up at the rink. So part of that for me is not telling them who's starting until we're ready to go out on the ice when I announce the starting lineup.
Oh, that's great.
Last year, Robbie Fuller was able to stand on his head for a couple games in goal. Do you think you need that again, or do you think you have the talent around him or talent around the goaltending to withstand, you know, a barrage?
Well, we had with Robbie Fuller last year, him and Joey Vitanzi, they really pushed each other and supported each other. And we were in a position for 2 years where it was just go back and forth, one goalie to the other every game.
Right.
Because I really felt, you know, we could win with every goalie. And the question this year was, who's going to push Joey to help him maintain that level? And the answer is Oleg. Oleg has stepped right up, and he's played very well all year. He's pushing Joey a little bit. And Joey, to me, Joey's a gamer. You might not get the best out of him in practice, but when the game is on the line, Joey has proven in his previous 3 years that he'll answer the call.
And Joey played well the other night against Merrimack Valley. Made some nice key saves because the game was tight in the first couple periods, and you know, a puck going the opposite way could have really changed the flow of that game. And Joey was able to stand up. It brings me to my next question: is that Charlie and I have talked a lot about depth at Kingswood. That depth seems to be an issue, that we're able to put a top line on, or even 1.5 lines, but you've been able to withstand not having as much depth. And we talked about the injuries that you've been dealing with. Is it an attitude in the locker room? Is that what's getting you through this? Is that it's all 15 or 16 or 17 players, I don't know how many you're carrying right now, but that are all in it together where everybody's pushing each other? Do you feel like that kind of camaraderie is what's allowing you the success?
I would say it's our leadership that does that. I try to give them a little something to go by as to how I'd like them to lead. And the thing that I did with last year and with the captains this year is I give them a little bit of a quote. One was from a song by The Who, and the quote is, "It's the singer, not the song, that makes the music move along." And the point I try to give them is, it's the way you're delivering the message that the kids are going to follow. If you want to come in and be the boss and order people around, people aren't going to follow you. Right? If you want to support them and lift them up, they'll follow you anywhere. And I don't just say this because he's your son, but Sam has done an outstanding job doing that this year.
Well, it's nice to hear, and I think that, I'll speak about him real quick. I think leadership is probably one of his top qualities that he has. He's a good hockey player, but I think he's even better leader. You have anything else?
I do, actually. I just kind of wanted you had mentioned music, and I had the opportunity the other night to actually work the game, and I always know you're a big Bruce Springsteen fan, right? So tell me a little bit about that. I actually walked through when you were having your moment. So that's the song that's always played?
I don't know that I would refer to it as my moment. It's actually something that Peter Marshall started.
Okay.
Peter Marshall Sr., when he used to do the booth for us when Pete played. And before the games, I always come out, and it wasn't so much started with the music, but I come out and I like to stand on the bench by myself for a couple of minutes and just kind of take it in, think about what I want to say when I go into the locker room. And he started playing that song. And it happened to be, I caught it after about the third game, that was always the same song he would play when I'd come out to the bench.
Right.
So it's just...
become a tradition.
It's become a tradition, and that's something that we push with the kids, is pride, spirit, and tradition. In fact, it says it on the back of their sweatshirts that they wear. It says it on the wall in their locker room, and that's just become a tradition of Kingswood hockey. They have songs that they play themselves after a game. Excuse me, if we win at home or if we win on the road, it's two different songs, but they stick with that as well. It's just something that happens before the game. You'll find me out there singing. And fortunately, the new sound system is loud enough that you can't hear me singing.
Well, that's great.
Very fortunate.
Yeah, it is.
Coach, we know you're going to get to practice.
Yeah.
We plan on having you in here in a few weeks after we win the title.
Well, that would be something, wouldn't it?
Okay.
Can't wait.
So
I'll raise that banner.
So thank you for coming in, and nice job.
Thank you. Thank
Thanks
you
a
very
lot,
much.
Coach.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you at the rink.
All right, we'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Mike and the Hoss. Coach Potenza.
Oh, wow, what a great interview. What a great guy. I mean, just not only his hockey knowledge, but just the way that he works with kids, and just kind of that. He embodies really the spirit of Kingswood, as far as I liked him talking about the pride and the tradition.
He puts together a really nice family for the kids. And, successful teams are not just showing up and practicing and playing games. Successful teams are living it.
Right.
I know when I was in school, my college coach was, it was family, school, team.
Sure.
And that was the order that you lived your life.
Right.
And then everything else came afterwards. And Mike does a lot of that stuff with the kids, and it's good to see. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the success is
No.
there.
And that team, and you said, I mean, you have your own family, but those hockey guys, they're a family.
Yeah.
And then you could see that they've got each other's back, not only on the ice, but in the locker room and in the school.
Yeah.
So they've really gelled.
You had a chance to talk to the girls' coach.
I did. So Coach Landry, first year head coach this year. He moved up here from Exeter. He teaches here at the high school. I had a chance. I get, as you know, I go to almost all of the girls' games because my kiddo, she plays. But I wanted to have a chance just to talk. It's the end of the season, and talk to Coach Landry. So I touched base a little bit, and we've talked a lot about the girls' hockey program. They've won one game, but it's not really about winning. It's about kind of where they are. And Coach just wanted to share that not only was it a tremendous effort this season with a depleted team, and what I mean by depleted, the past two games they've only had eight kids playing. because of illness and other
That's hard.
other things that had to be taken care of. But one of the things I wanted to highlight before I talk about Coach Landry, Quinn Meserve scored her first varsity goal.
Oh, good for
So
Quinn.
that was very exciting.
Yeah.
And Abby Kelly continues to impress. Putting the puck in the net, and she's a fantastic player. But Coach just really, what we talked about was he really wanted to talk about the team. They lost 9 seniors. So for them to be able to, first of all, keep a team together. There's only 2 seniors on the team this year. Senior night is Saturday.
Yeah.
But for a lot of kids that some, and we've talked about this before too, some who have never played hockey before just have kind of stepped up, put the team kind of together, and the team has gelled. And I think the most important thing that's really come out of this team is going to continue. They're close. They want to be together. They want to continue to play hockey. They want to get better. And Coach Landry he's all praise. He's just so impressed. He said, because 99 times out of 100, a team like this would just fold.
Yeah.
No one would want to play. And these girls have just stuck together. And he said he is just so proud of them for their spirit, their willingness to play, knowing the adversity that they're going to face day in and day out.
It's hard going into games when you know that you really don't have a chance of winning, and there's to keep the spirits up, to understand that it's a process, that it might not happen this year, it might not happen next year, but eventually if you keep working the process, then this is going to work.
It is.
So kudos to Coach Landry for keeping the girls' spirits high.
Definitely, and I'm hoping we're gonna tomorrow night we got senior night for the girls, senior night for the guys.
Yep.
And I know that we mentioned. I want to backtrack just a little, Mike. When we were talking to Coach Potenza, it's a huge deal. Sam Dene is a huge deal.
Thank you.
Really, 100 points. I reached out to Sam after it happened. That's a big deal. He should be proud of all the hard work that he's put in, and what an accomplishment. So congratulations to Sam, and congratulations, Dad.
Thank you. It was a really nice night for Sam and his parents and his brother and sister. And somebody made a comment, and I forget what it was, because a lot of congratulations came his way, that it wasn't 4 years of accomplishments.
Yeah.
Sam put on skates when he was 3 years old.
Sure.
And he had persevered through some tough times in hockey. And so somebody said it's 15 years of work that Sam did. So it is a compliment. We're very proud of him, and thank you, Charlie.
Of course.
Basketball, we have a little bit on basketball. The girls lost by 2 to Plymouth this week. Their last game is tonight. It's on the road. And the comment from Amanda Lepar, we've talked about Amanda as one of the captains, that she said the season didn't turn out the way that they wanted, but they had fun and they improved. And we had said, that's sometimes, it doesn't stack up in the win column, but there's other messages that have to be sent to the team. And it seems like the girls got that message and had a positive experience. I didn't get anything from the boys. I didn't get an update from the boys, so I think next week we can do a season recap on the boys team. We'll spend some time getting from there. We do have some athletes of the week to talk about.
Oh, let's do that.
Yeah. For the female athlete of the week, Christy Meyer, alpine skiing. Christy was a solid performer all season, including the state race. Consistently scored points for the team at all races this season. Positive attitude, and a leader among the captains. So congratulations, Christy.
Yeah, congratulations,
Want to
Christy.
take the boys?
Yeah, of course. Male athlete of the week actually comes from boys basketball. It's Richard Curran. Richard continues to be a positive leader on the team. He had a career-high 23 points Thursday night against tough Merrimack Valley Merrimack Valley team. So nice job to Richard. That's exciting because we've heard Richard's name throughout the entire season, so that's exciting. So they finish up this week as well.
Okay.
So
we'll get some more information for the boys. So I think we should get into some of our Boston sports because we are running a little short on time. Red Sox are in spring training. They've all reported.
Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be any drama as far as the reporting. Our condolences to the Nick Cafardo family.
Oh yes, yeah.
That
was sad. That's tough.
I enjoy listening to him. He seems to have a very grounded perspective on the Red Sox. So condolences to his family. But Manny Machado signed. 10 years, $30 million with the Padres.
Yeah.
I know, Charlie, you were upset he didn't sign with the Yankees because you wanted to get the rivalry going.
Yes.
I was perfectly fine with him signing on the West Coast. I think that, the Yankees don't need anybody else, and he certainly was he's certainly a guy that you hated on the other team.
Right. I mean,
Some of the stuff that he did.
do you think he's going to actually make an impact with the Padres?
No, I still think they're going to lose
No.
100 games.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I had said to you before, the Padres are the Baltimore Orioles of the National
Yep.
League.
No,
So,
I still think they're going to lose 100
yeah,
games.
they might sell a
and
few more tickets.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
But I don't know. It was interesting to see that there wasn't much of a market for him.
Right.
Where he thought it would be. And the same thing seems to be happening with Bryce Harper,
Mm-hmm.
that there doesn't seem to be that much of a market. Although I did hear this week that apparently Harper has turned down several $300 million deals, but nobody wants to go higher than that. Which brings us to the actual topic, Mookie.
Yes.
Mookie has, I believe, one more year of
Mm-hmm.
Red Sox control.
Right.
They didn't fight him this year on his contract. He's making his $20 million this year. Should the Red Sox be trying to sign him now?
I think they should. I think now's the time to do it. But then comes the question: how much are we signing Mookie Betts for? What is he worth? I mean, is he better than Machado?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So Machado's $300 million 10-year, right?
And he's better than Harper.
Yep.
If you look at his Mookie doesn't put people in the seats like Harper does for some reason. Harper is a big draw.
Sure.
But if you look at Harper's splits compared to Mookie, Mookie is by far the more successful player.
Right.
By far, it's not even comparable. But I'm glad to see that there seems to be a ceiling on what teams are willing to give these guys.
Right.
Because I feel like there's a better chance that we'll be able to hold on to Mookie. Is Mookie 10-300? Would you sign him for 10-300?
Well, I would. I mean, if I had that kind of money. No, definitely, because he's better than Machado.
Yeah.
I still don't know where the Padres got the money, but whatever. So we'll see. I mean, I think I think Mookie needs to be signed, and I'm hoping that the management will go ahead and take care of that this year.
Would Mookie could he be a $400 million guy? Is he that good enough? Is anybody that good enough to? So let's say the salary cap or the Red Sox budget rather is
Right.
$200 million.
Yeah.
Is Mookie worth 20% of that? Can a team win if 20% of their budget, when you have a 26-man roster,
Right.
can a team win when 1/5 of their budget goes to one player?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
I think we're on the same page
all right.
there. So, now my understanding is that one of the agreements that they made with Mookie that he didn't have to lead off. I didn't know that was the thing, that he didn't want to lead off, but apparently he feels that he doesn't get the numbers that somebody
Right.
who's batting second, third, or fourth is getting.
Yeah.
So they made an agreement with him that he's not leading off, and Benintendi's going to lead off. What do you think about that?
No, I think it's a good move. I mean, I think we're going to continue to get production out of Mookie. I mean, he's going to pick up some RBIs, batting second. And I think having Benintendi lead off, you still have speed. I mean, Benny's got some speed. So, and Benny, I mean, although people say that he's a power hitter, he's not a power hitter. But he's got power. I mean,
He's a sweet hitter.
yeah. But he's a hitter.
Yeah.
So he's gonna get on base. So I'm actually really liking the fact that you get Benny on base and then you get Mookie up behind him, and all of a sudden the Red Sox jump to an early lead.
A little worried about Benintendi is that he hit in between Mookie and who batted third for the Sox last year? J.D. Martinez.
Yeah, Martinez. Yeah.
Two righties. And so a lot of times when the other teams would come out of the bullpen, they were just bringing in the righties, and Benintendi faced the righty.
Yeah.
He didn't face the lefty, but now he's not going to be sandwiched in between those guys. Might expose him a little bit.
They could, especially later in the game.
But I think it's time that they figure out what he is.
Yeah.
Can he handle himself? And he's going to be his third year. So
Yeah. What are you thinking with Red Sox? What are you thinking with catching? You got some catching, a little bit of catching drama in a sense. Who are the catchers they're going to keep? Do you think they're going to keep Swihart?
is Leon still there, right?
Yeah. So you got Sandy Leon.
Yep.
Yeah, and you got Swihart
And Vasquez. I thought Vasquez was a little bit of a disappointment last year. I know he got hurt,
Yeah.
but his offensive production was so down. But you kind of accepted it because his defense
Yeah.
was so good.
Well,
He wasn't as good defensively last year as he had been in years
Right.
past.
And when you talk about Sandy is fantastic defensively. He couldn't hit a watermelon.
Right.
So you have two really good defensive catchers. Vasquez is better offensively. And defensively, it's probably a toss-up.
They're great.
Yeah.
But I guess it's a good problem to have. You won the World Series with them last year.
You sure did, yeah.
I just wonder if I know that Swihart's still in the organization.
Yeah.
They're looking for a position. I feel like they screwed with him a little bit.
Yeah, they stick him out in the outfield.
Put him in the outfield.
Yeah.
Let's try him at first base.
Yeah.
Let's give him a little bit of catching.
Yeah.
The poor guy's been in the mix for 4 or 5 years now.
Right.
He's the best hitter out of all of them.
Right.
And should they make him the backup catcher?
Yeah.
Trade Leon or Vasquez. I think Vasquez has one more year on his deal.
He does, yeah.
And they're all low money stuff, so that you can move him pretty easily. And get Swihart in, get those at bats, because if you put him in the lineup, you're a better team.
You are.
You're a better team offensively.
Mm-hmm.
Defensively, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. Is it that much of a drop off?
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what Corey does. It's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Coming off another title. The fans of Boston should be too upset.
Exactly.
We were going to debate again today.
We were, but we're running out of time.
I don't know if we have the time for the debate.
So we want to just introduce what we were going to talk about.
Sure,
Let's
so
do
people
that.
want to tune in next week.
Yeah, definitely.
We were going to. Pete Rose
Yep.
has retired from baseball a long time ago.
77 years old.
77 years old. Accused and found to have betted on
Yeah,
baseball.
he finally admitted it.
He admitted it.
Yep.
Bet on his own team too. Bet on the Reds during
Yep.
Reds game that he was managing.
Yes.
Still not in the Hall of Fame.
Right. Yeah, they was deemed ineligible, so therefore he can't be in the Hall of Fame. So we're going to take a look at whether or not Pete Rose deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Last week we talked about players that took PEDs.
Yep.
So now we're going to talk about if we don't think players with PEDs should be in the Hall of Fame, what about those that bet on their own team? Should they be in the Hall of Fame? So we're going to have to kind of examine that, because when we bring out Pete Rose's numbers next week, it's there's no argument that he doesn't qualify as a baseball player.
And I think what else is going to come into play, Charlie, when we talk about this is that betting now in today's baseball and football and so on is much different than it was 25, 30 years ago.
Right.
Now there's fantasy. And fantasy is betting. You are betting on players. And
Yeah.
I don't believe there's any rule that says that players can't participate in fantasy baseball.
Yeah, I don't know about fantasy. I mean, obviously there's a rule you can't bet.
Well, yes,
Yeah.
but
You're right.
Fantasy is. I mean, you hear football players talk all the time about their fantasy numbers.
Yeah.
So I think that's something else that we're going to, So next week we're going to talk about, Pete Rose and whether we think he should be in the Hall of Fame. So,
Yeah, and it's interesting because, I mean, the guy that kind of banned him 8 days later died.
yeah.
So it's interesting. So I'm looking forward to that debate, and I hope our viewers are as well.
Again, the Bruins and the Celtics and some other national news are getting shorted, so we'll do this quick.
Yeah.
Bruins have won 7 in a row,
Yeah.
all without Pasternak, who slipped and hurt himself on the
with
ice.
the old thumb. Yep. Sure.
Is it addition by subtraction? You gotta wonder.
Yeah. Sure do.
They've been putting the puck in the net. They've getting scoring from 3 lines. They made a big trade the other night. I think Brett Coyle they picked up, and they got rid of Ryan Donato, who came up big for them last year in the playoffs. So
Right.
We'll see if that's interesting. But the Bruins now have the 3rd or 4th best record in the league, so they're making a
They're
run.
making a big playoff push.
I just don't know if they could knock off the top teams.
Right.
It might be futile, but we'll see. The Celtics, more drama with Kyrie.
Oh man, lots more drama. The whole All-Star game and his conversations with, different players, and the fact that what I thought was funny, he actually played hard in an All-Star game. It's like crashing offensive boards, and he doesn't do that in Boston.
No, this doesn't seem to be as much interest in Boston. They lost last night. Kyrie had the ball in his hands to win the game.
Yeah. And they played well against the Bucks, but
I mean, I've been pretty well founded as far as my position on Kyrie. I'm pretty sick of it.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them look at an alternative way to get to the top.
Yeah.
I love watching him play.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
he's just dynamite to watch. But this off-court drama, I don't know if I can handle.
You
this
know who I
long-term.
like a little bit more watching him play? Jason Tatum. He is impressive, and what he did at the All-Star.
Yep.
The other day of the skills competition, and I think there's something in that kid that, like, you know what, let's build around Jason Tatum, because my fear is that they're going to get rid of Tatum
for Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to have to talk about that one next week,
I think
because
so.
I think that that could be a debate in itself. Should,
Sure
should
could.
we should the Celtics trade Tatum for Davis?
Right.
And there's a lot of national news that are happening out there. White House visits for the championship teams.
Yeah.
That one that goes along the political lines. I don't know
Sure.
if we're going to have permission to talk about that one.
You never know.
And then there was a little drama in the Patriots world today, but
A little bit, yeah.
we did get some tweets, some questions. We would like to answer some of them, but our producer said we got to stay off of some of them too. So
Definitely. But keep the tweets coming in, because we do want to address them. And we're really excited about getting some questions, and we're going to get some more guests and our debates.
next week we're hoping to have the captains from the varsity hockey team
Awesome.
come in, because next Saturday is their quarterfinal playoff game, and so we're hoping to get a little preview on that. But otherwise than that, do you have anything else, Charlie?
I don't. Do you have anything else, Mike?
I don't. So thank you for watching Mike and the Hoss on Wolfeboro Community Television. And remember, you can tweet us questions at Mike and the Hoss. And we'll see you next week.
Have a good night. Go
Nice.
Knights.